Oh no, yet. I'm just winging it. All right. Shh. Um, but there's a lot of things we already go over in this class. There's a lot of things we already go over in this class. So yes. So if this afternoon there's SAT section in the afternoon after school. So I'm gonna help you out, and Sophia Anthony's gonna help you guys out as well. So if you get in guys interested, come in. So now more alpha data, you don't need to tutor somebody. I need the people who score above 700 in math in order to tutor someone. So more likely, I don't think anybody scored above 700 here yet. Now, when you reach 700, then you can start tutoring other people. But anything below 700, I'd rather you get better until you get to a point where you can tutor other people. Now, also, just so you don't know, like if you're really good at math, like we're talking about really good, sometimes like when I was in like this year, I kind of refer people with tutoring jobs, right? They get paid like $20 or $30 per hour, um, because they are really good. Like Daniel, for example, I refer him a job. Um, if some student I don't want to tutor, then I kind of say, hey Daniel, I want to tutor this guy, and you tutor from like 30 bucks per hour. Not many job you can find 30 bucks per hour. Okay, and actually, if you're really good, so I'm hoping one or two of you guys have a chance to be very good, and then if some of my students need a tutor, I don't want to have them call other people. I would rather call my own students. First of all, my own student can make money. I cannot tutor my own kids, so I tutor other people's kids, but I won't tutor you guys because you guys are my student. I won't never take money from you. But I was wanting to take money from some rich people that wanted to pay me because that's just how I am. But with you guys, if you need help, I'm helping you. But if you need extra help, you need other people tutor you, that besides me, you can hire somebody. And know somebody, I prefer them to be my student. Okay? Um, all right. Any question I need to go over? No? Yes. G, sure. I don't know where's the question though. Can somebody tell me what's the question? Oh, G of H of 4? Oh, I don't have that graph. Okay, I have my graph on my phone, so I'm gonna look at my phone. Hold on. Precalculus, let me look at G. Okay, G says G of H. So you're gonna look at that H graph. H graph look like this. It looks like this. Okay, it looks like that. Now H, this is a H graph, and they say G of H of 4. That means you're gonna rewrite it a G of H of 4 like this. Did you write that out? And then you're gonna find out what happened to H equal to 4. H of 4 is equal to -1, because that means when x is equal to 4, what is my output? That means the only one output is right here, is at -1. Is that okay, Jacob? Oh, it should be 0. I'd read it. Wait, did I graph it wrong? Oh, I graphed it wrong. Sorry. This it has a vertical shift like this. So in this case, it's gonna be 0. So what is g of 0? Well, we're gonna go to g function. So 4x minus 2 is g of x. No, so that'd be 4 times 0 minus 2, so it'd be -2. Any question about this part? Okay. This part of the question represents about 20% of your test. Now, I don't think I can put a test on this Friday, so this week you are safe. Tomorrow, the day after, we are covering inverse function. We cover even function. I don't know. I'll get back to you on that. I don't know this test on this Friday or next Tuesday. I'm not sure yet, but there's a possibility we might change it. I'm going to talk about the inverse function. Now, you might study about inverse function before. Okay, so what is a notation for inverse function? So this is notation of inverse function. Now, please don't read it as f-1. That's really bad. That's really bad. What you're going to read is f inverse. This going to read as inverse. Okay, this is going to read as inverse. F inverse of x. Now, here's a problem. Yes.
Are you streaming?
Yes, I think so. Hold on. I did stream, right? Hold on. Make sure I turn it off too. Yeah, it is streaming. Make sure you read as f inverse of x because some people says that's f-1 power. But the problem is f-1 power, they think is like this, which is not true. So this is not correct. Not correct. So that's why you don't read it as f-1 power. It's bad. This is bad. Don't ever do this. You always read f of inverse of x. So that way you don't get confused between two. So now what's the difference between f inverse of x? Well, first of all, let's teach you how to find f inverse of x. So I'm going to start with the one thing. I'm going to start with the f of x is equal to 3x over 5x minus 2. I'm going to start a very hard one. Later I'm going to give you an easy one. So I'm going to follow 4-step. I replace f of x with y. Second, all x change to y and all y change to x. So you swap them. All the x, you're going to make sure you write as y, all the y change into x. Third thing, solve for y. The fourth step is replace new y with f inverse of x. See, this is how I read them, f inverse of x. Next time if I hear the conversation that you say f-1 power, I will come by and I'll kick you. Because that means you're going to do something wrong. Because you would think that's 1 over f. That's really bad. That's not good. I will seriously kick you. Now, I did worse than that before. So, kick you is pretty nice.
New y.
Yeah, replace the new y with f inverse of x. So now, if you want to try it, I'll give you 30 seconds to try it first. Just make sure you follow all the steps. But it's a little bit harder, right? So you gotta be careful. Okay. So I'll give you 20 more seconds before you want to start. But I'm going to show you how to do it in a second. I want you to try it. Like, make sure you follow all the directions, see if you can do it. If you cannot do it, then we're going to fix it. So this is the kind of like the pig problem and cat problem before. Slightly different, but more likely the same. So I'm going to start with my first steps. My first step says I replace the f of x with y. So I'll go ahead and do that. Second step, every time you have y, you change to what? X. So be x equal to 3y over 5y minus 2. Is that okay? We are solving for y. That means there's a fraction. The first goal is always get rid of fraction. How do I get rid of fraction? 5y minus 2, right? So be x times 5y minus 2 equal to 3y, right? Is that okay so far? Now what I do next? Distribute, because y is inside. So I'm going to have to find a way to distribute first. So get 5x, sorry, wrong color code. 5xy minus 2x equal to 3y. Is this okay? What do I do next? Move 5xy over. So subtract 5xy, subtract 5xy. So that's going to be negative 2x equal to 3y minus 5xy. Now, since y is on two separate terms, a multiple term, how do I get y by itself? Factor. So this is like a pig problem that we did. So 3 minus 5x, negative 2x. So y is equal to negative 2x over 3 minus 5x. Am I going too fast? It's good? Okay, I'll give you a couple questions. See if yes.
Why would you like move the y over?
What do you mean by moving y over?
Because like it's y different than negative 3 or 5x. So we put that like before the like why doesn't the y become like it says replace new y with that? Should we put that in the answer?
You mean move 3y to the left side?
No, like just like y when you factor it out. So it's like 3 minus 5x. Where in the parentheses a y? Oh.
The negative 5 is all the negatives.
Okay, I see. I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
I was just confused, yeah.
Okay, so now last step is f inverse of x is equal to negative 2x, 3 minus 5x. So I forgot the last step. You have to replace as inverse. So that way you know. Now, this is a pre-calc material. Even though you learn it in Algebra 2, but this is going to be on a pre-calc test. But there's a little bit more extension to that. But right now, we want you to see if you can find out the sum inverse of this. So I'm going to say 2x minus 1 over 5x minus 2. So I want to see if you can find the inverse of this function. I want to see if you can find a simple one. If 2x minus 7, can you find the inverse of this function? Now I can start with the y, so you don't have to do the first step. So can you check each other once they get it? Now, by the way, I just want to address something though. This one can also rewrite as negative 2x. You can factor out a negative 1 as well. So it's going to be 5x minus 3. So that negative sign will cancel out. So it'll be 2x over 5x minus 3. So it could be 2x over 5x minus 3. This is also correct answer because those two are interchangeable. You can factor out a negative 1 on the bottom and cancel the negative sign. It becomes 2x over 5x minus 3. Now, sometimes because the multiple choice answer is in this format, you can make sure you can see that format is matching. Okay, so there's 2 questions. I want you to try it. And check each other, see if they got it. The right one is easier, the left one is a little bit harder. Now pre-calc doesn't have this question, but they ask a little bit different. This is not on SAT.
So do you want us to do the thing you did already? Like factoring the negative one?
I mean, I just want you to be able to recognize it because sometimes your answer is going to be different. But you know, depending on which way you solve it, because sometimes you move different directions, and sometimes your answer is going to be completely upside down or completely wrong sign. Not just because, you know, also this answer has less negative signs. They usually will prefer the one with less negative sign. So the bottom answer is actually more preferred than the top answer. But either one is right. That's why I don't like. I think one of the things that people got a lot weaker in math is because of digital testing. Digital testing is it's only like multiple choice or like plug-in response. Either you get completely wrong, and you're not knowing why you get it wrong. My son actually at 7th grade he completely got a 0 on the math test, and I asked him why, and I asked the teacher why, and the teacher cannot tell me why. It says the test on the performance matter, and you just don't know what is wrong, what is it wrong. But it turns out that the question was multiple select, like they did not just put answers 2. They say the answer could be 4/2, could be 2, could be 8/4, right? And all those answer choices you had to mark it, and he just marked it like 2, and he got it wrong. But he didn't get a wrong answer. He just got it wrong. But is that testing good or bad? No, it's bad. So I think testing on paper is still the best way to test because you can see where students make mistake and you can go and correct them. And the problem is right now they all emphasize on data, and those data is bullshit because it's garbage because they don't tell you like where the student did wrong.
You don't know what the students did wrong in the AP?
I don't know. But they will send me a report on the AP test. They will send me like says how many percentage of the student got this one right, and that's it. But you don't know who. But me, like my not pre-calculus, but my calculus, everything's off the chart. It's all like high, but I don't know who got it wrong. Yes, Diego. Yeah. Do you guys get it? Same thing. Match each other up.
Wait, you just gotta like get all the y on one side and then factor out a y.
Why didn't you get the you get multiply
Yeah, so then subtract 3y and then add 2x.
Is that okay? First one.
Yeah.
Okay, second one is gonna be y equal to 2x minus 1 over 5x minus 2. X equal to 2y minus 1, 5y minus 2. X times 5y minus 2 equal to 2y minus 1. And x 5x 2y minus 2x equal to 2y minus 1. So I move this to the other side. So it'll be negative 2x plus 1. And 5xy to the other side. So 2y minus 5xy. Then I'm going to factor out y. So it'll be 2 minus 5x over negative 2x plus 1. And then I'll write down f inverse of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1 over 2 minus 5x. Is that okay? You can also rewrite as a negative 2x minus 1 over 5x minus 2 negative. So this can change to 2x minus 1 over 5x minus 2. So this answer is acceptable. Either one is acceptable, but you got to be able to change it if the multiple choice is the other way. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about a graph of looking of this, right? So what is special characteristic of so in order to have inverse, the first requirement is they are monotonic. That's a very interesting word, monotonic. So mono means one, tonic actually means direction. That means the function has to be going straight up or straight down. It cannot go up and down. So a parabola cannot have inverse function. A parabola cannot have inverse function because it went down and come back up, or went up, come back down. It does not do any of that. So therefore, it has to be only going up or only going down. So monotonic means strictly increasing or decreasing, but not both, not increasing and decreasing. Now, second way to test for that is actually it's very similar to how to test a function. Do you remember how do you test if something is a function? Vertical line test. Now, in this case, it's called horizontal line test. So if they are monotonic, they will pass horizontal line test because a parabola will fail horizontal line test. So it must be passed on horizontal line test. Yeah, what will be the result though? Result of inverse function. And result of inverse function. First result is swap x and y value. Now, this is very important because this is going to help you solve many different kind of problem. It's swap. Input, output switch. So I call it input, output, switch. And this is going to help you solve a lot of different kind of harder problem for the inverse function. Secondly, what else? The graph is reflecting to y equal to x between f of x and f inverse of x. So they must reflecting between y equal to x. And I'll show you how they do that. So I'm gonna pick a function. I'm gonna pick an easier function, so that way you can see it. So this is two things it must pass. It must pass monotonic, strictly increasing and strictly decreasing, but not both. The function can only go up or go down, but not go up and go down, so that a parabola or absolute value, they cannot have inverse function. You have to cut a graph halfway in order to have inverse. Horizontal line test, the same thing. If you take a horizontal line test on parabola, you would have failed it. So you have to cut the function to half in order to have inverse. Lastly, switch x and y value. The x and y value swap, and the reflecting y equal to x. So we're gonna take this for example. Y equal to 2x minus 7. So we're gonna say f of x equal to 2x minus 7. I don't know if it does work. I'm gonna try it. I don't think it'll work. It doesn't? It doesn't work? Okay, that doesn't work. So we can just type in new function. What was the new function again? What is the inverse function?
Plus 7 over 2.
X plus 7 over 2? Like that? Now, do you see they are reflecting? But reflecting to this graph. And I'll draw a dotted line so that way you can see it. Do you see they're reflecting to this line? And this is very, very important knowledge that you to know. But also something else that's very important is, let's just say if I decide to build a table here, if I decide to build a table here, right? Okay, so I want you to pay attention. -2, 11, right? Miranda, pay attention. And if I do -11 here, guess what? It's gonna give you -2. Do you see that x, y value switch? If I see -9, what happened? -1. If I put down -7, what will happen? 0. If I put -5, is what? 1. And if it's -2, yeah. So that becomes, say, they're reflecting to the other side. You do that to the other graph, same thing. So let's get rid of this. Can you guys tell me what's the function you get for the other one? What's the original function?
It's 2x minus 1 over 5x minus 2.
2x minus 1
Over 5x minus 2.
over 5x minus 2. So it looks like this, right? What's the other function?
1 minus 2x over 2 minus 5x.
Oh, that was the same equation. Hold on, they are the same. But they are inverse to each other though. They can solve inverse in this case. 2 minus 5x. Yeah, they are the same equation. So it turns out they are the same. So they can solve inverse here. Because if you type in y equal to x here, then you see they are inverse to each other still. They have that mirror image. Now, with that being said, I'm gonna ask you a quick question. You guys ready? All right. So I have a function. The inverse so I have this function here. Okay, we're gonna call this f of x. All right. Does this pass horizontal line test? Yes, right? So can I find out what's the f inverse of 6? Can you look at the graph? Can you tell me what's f inverse of 6? Raise your hand if you think you know. Nobody? Huh? Anybody else? Yes?
6.
-6? Okay. Anybody else? No one? Anybody agree with him? DeLong or Zender? So two people think they are the same thing. So, Sophia, can you go on the board, explain why do you think it's 3?
Which x is y, and y goes up 3, x is gonna be y goes up 6, x is gonna be 3. That's how I know.
Yeah. Well, it's not very good job explaining, but he knows his idea. Did anybody understand him?
Vaguely. You can just go up 6 instead. And then. Okay.
Flip y on x.
Yeah, swapping x and y value. So obviously, this value here, right, is 3 comma 6, right? So that means f of 3 is equal to 6. Is that okay? So this means 3, 6. Now inverse, it should end up to be 6, 3, right? If I have inverse. So f inverse of 6 should equal to 3. So that's 3. And matter of fact, you can use that idea to graph the inverse function. So I'm going to change the 6, 3. Guess what? That's going to give you this point, right? And what is that point? 1 comma 5. So it's what? 5, 1, right? This point is -2, 1. Or -2, -1. So what's the other point? -1, -2. And this point is what? -5, -2. So it'd be -2. -1, -2 is wrong side. So, so -1, -2 is here. And -2, -5 is right here. So imagine that if you graph this, what do you see? Are they symmetry to here? Does that make sense? All right, see you tomorrow.
How do you get the line?
Huh?
How do you get the dotted line?
That's just y equal to x. That's how they reflect. That's in the mirror.
Okay. So for SAT tutoring today, are we going over questions or you're gonna be like showing us?
I'll go over any question that I think is important.
Okay. Are you gonna read SAT tutoring? I haven't heard some today, so I'm not gonna be able to make all of it.
Probably. Bros cooking. Yeah. Who's those kids?
Who's who?